Welcome back to Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans. I'm Steven, and today, tonight, whenever the heck you're watching this, we are getting into 9 whiskeys that you need to buy this spring. But before we do that, please do me that favor, like, comment, and subscribe. Helps us out a ton, and we seriously appreciate the support. But let's get into today's video. So again, these are 9 whiskeys that I think you need to buy this spring. One that's super easy, Woodford Double Oak. This double oaked sweet bad mama jamma is one of my favorite bourbons of all time. This is one of the bourbons that got me into whiskey, and I love a double oak product from time to time. Not always, but I typically do usually go for the 1910 from Old Forester over this one. But again, it's heating up around here, so it's not as cold as it used to be. So I don't really want something as dark and toasted as the 1910 is, and I think this is a sweeter, easier, more approachable type flavor profile for that kind of double oaked bourbon. And I think it's really, really sweet as kind of a desserty, toned down, either to get you started for the night or to kind of close the night up. You know, it's a transitional, very sweet bourbon for me. After that one, we have another kind of crowd pleaser and or kind of a layup, you know, a fan favorite, and also one of my like downright like top 5 go-to bourbons of all time, and that is Old Forester 1897. I love Old Forester. Everybody knows I'm a sucker for the Old Forester flavor profiles, and I think this is their best bourbon of all time. I know. I used to love the 1920 a lot. I still love the 1910 a lot. I mean, I still also do really like 1920. That being said, I think this is the most overall easiest to drink, most flavor going on without like a weird, aggressive bit of like proofy funk and youth that I'm now getting on the 1920. So this is just a downright layup of that Old Forester Brown-Forman flavor profile with the nice vanilla, custardy, banana split type flavor profile that I absolutely love. If you're like a banana lover, that bottle is going to be the perfect bourbon for you. And then another bourbon, one that I've been crushing on this brand a lot over the last like 6 months, and this one is just phenomenal, especially spring. This is the ideal spring bourbon for me. I do wish it was a little bit cheaper, but that being said, it is still way worth the money, and that is Doc Swensons Alter Ego. This is not their cask strength, but it is still phenomenal at that. This is a 95.8 proof. This is wonderful. So this is sherry and cognac cask finish bourbon. I believe it's MGP. I know Doc Swensons sources all their stuff, but I know they do source from other things. But for the use of this video, we'll just say it's MGP bourbon because it's downright home plate, like stereotypical MGP flavor profile with like sherry and cognac finishing. I've had sherry and cognac finished MGP, and this tastes basically just like a really well sherry and cognac finished MGP that's at, you know, the 95 proof. So it's just a really nice, easy sipping quality MGP bourbon that is finished in sherry and cognac, bringing in some really nice sherry and cognac finish flavor profile, as well as some nice like 6-7-year-old MGP type flavors as well. And then after that one, another one that I've been crushing on for a while. I mean, if you're not getting kind of a theme with this list, it's a lot of springtime. It's kind of like fan favorites, you know, comfort. This is comfort whiskey season, and these are all whiskeys that I have been in love with for a while, and a few that I just recently found, but most of the bourbons at least are like kind of down home plate comfort whiskeys. And there's no comfort whiskey I love more than this Knob Creek 12. This is a bottle I talk about a lot, because I absolutely love this. I think this is one of the best shelf bottles out there. And I'm not a huge fan of Knob Creek. I don't really love the, 9-year-old Knob Creek stuff, But for some reason, once it hits like 12, 13, 14 years old, it gets phenomenal to me. This stuff is amazing. It's 12 years old, so it does bring in some nice like oaky flavors and some nice dark flavors, but it also is very, very bright and sweet. And this stuff is only 100 proof, so it's also very easy to drink when it starts getting a little hotter outside. So I think this is honestly, out of all of them, this is my favorite stereotypical spring type whiskey, just because it blends all of them together really well. It has those dark kind of like wintry cold vibe flavor profiles, as well as some nice bright springtime fruitiness that, you know, I like to see. And now time to get into some ryes. So rye, I usually don't really love rye in the springtime, but there is a few lower proof ryes that I have been crushing on recently. And that is Wild Turkey 101 Rye. I think this is kind of a holdover from Advent calendar, Christmas time season, but I've been loving the heck out of this bottle. I had this on the Advent calendar and I don't remember what I thought it was, but I was like, wow, this is an incredible rye whiskey. It turns out it's like a $25 Wild Turkey 101 rye that is absolutely incredible. I love this stuff. It is very sweet, peppery rye whiskey. It's sweet, youthy, kind of youthy, but not like overly youthy, peppery rye whiskey. This is fantastic. Fantastic. It doesn't get super dilly. It's mostly kind of like peppery hay to me. And I absolutely love the heck out of this stuff. I mean, that's why it is, you know, on its last legs. We got to buy a new bottle of that soon. I relearned I love the heck out of that bottle during Advent, and that's kind of why it's been sticking around. And I'm sure I'm going to still continue to love it through the springtime. And then once it gets to summer, that's probably going to kind of fall off a little bit. But after that one that's more stereotypical rye, down home plate, a more stereotypical kind of rye, we're talking MGP rye, but blended from someone who does a phenomenal job blending that rye. And that is High West Double Rye. I love these things. I have killed so many High West Double Ryes. This is probably my favorite go-to low-proof rye whiskey. My favorite high-proof one, Sagamore Spirits. My favorite go-to one, either this or Redwood Empire, but I think I kind of lean High West. I mean, it might be the cowboy-themed bottle that kind of makes me lean because they're both really, really good, but I love this. This is a great, sweet, dilly, minty, herbal, herbaceous type rye whiskey that's only at like 90 proof, 46%, so that would be 92 if my math is correct. If it's not, let me know in the comments below. But I love the heck out of this rye whiskey, and again, it's starting to warm up, so you don't want something that's super high proof, because again, my go-to, Sagamore Spirits, but with it being so hot outside, I'm not really enjoying those like 110 proof Sagamore Spirits picks. So this is kind of my go-to when it starts getting hot outside. I really like the sweet herbal flavor profile at that 92 proof. I hope that's 92 proof. Math is a little difficult sometimes. But after that one, a weird transitional whiskey that I don't really even know what whiskey category it falls into, but Jack Daniel's Triple Mash. For those of you who know me and have watched this channel before, you know I'm a huge bourbon and American single malt fan, and this stuff, and rye fan. I'm a huge American whiskey fan, but I primarily love American single malts, and this one blends all of my loves together into one weird, funky whiskey. It's not an everyday kind of whiskey, but when you want something that's very sweet, has a nice spice, and some maltiness in it, this is a go-to. This is fantastic. It's a weird, and I say weird just because it's atypical. It's a really good whiskey. Obviously, it's on this list, but it's a different kind of blend of whiskey because it has a rye, bourbon, or Tennessee whiskey, and then some American malt in it, giving it this kind of It doesn't fit in any weird or any one stereotypical flavor profile. It's kind of all in its own category, living in that whole like, oh, there's malty characteristics, there's kind of like rye, peppery characteristics from like that Jack Daniel rye, if you've ever had that. And then there's that sweet, bright, fruity characteristics from the Jack Daniel's flavor profile. Has that nice banana note. It's like a malty banana to me. I love the heck out of that bottle. Weird curveball of a bottle, but a totally underrated bottle nonetheless. Then after that, a new one to me, Westland Sherry Wood American Single Malt. This stuff, totally awesome. So I've had Westland before. I've had a lot of Westland. I have a pick of this kind of stuff that's at high proof that is phenomenal. And this is that same thing. It has that nice chocolatey, malty characteristics that you get off of the Westland, but it has this like nice, like kind of sherry finish, almost like raisiny sweetness to it. So it's like boozy, syrupy chocolate raisins. It's like chocolate raisinets with boozy syrup attached to it. This is phenomenal. This is when the sun's going down. It's still a little cold. This isn't a during the day kind of whiskey, but you know, the sun's going down. It's like the temperature's dropping outside. This is my go-to because again, it's only 92 proof, but it does have a lot of flavor in there and a lot of kind of towards those darker sides. But since it is obviously low proof, it is kind of, it still does fit in that theme of kind of when it starts getting cold, but it's still springtime out there. And this is a new one for me, but I look forward to getting into it more. And I'm really surprised because I hunt American single malts and I barely just found that bottle. And the first time I found it, I was like, take my money, please. It's awesome. And then after that, the final bottle in this list and the final American single malt, Stranahan's Cask Strength picks. And I know I've been saying, hey, stay away from the cask strength, stay away from the high proof stuff. It's too much. But this stuff is wonderful, 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 wonderful. They're aged in Colorado. They're from Colorado. So I feel like it is like a lighter side because Colorado, it's higher up in elevation. It's colder than a lot of the other places you see American single malts being aged in. So I feel like it ages a little bit slower, or has less of an oak impact compared to a lot of the other American single malts out there. So I think it kind of takes on those really nice, brighter, sweeter notes of the American single malt category. It still has some nice malt characteristics to it, but it has a really nice malty mouthfeel with some bright sweetness and bright fruity characteristics. And the cask strength ones are always around like 110s to like 115 range. So it's still a lower end of higher proof stuff. And again, like I said, with the Westland, it still does get cold during the spring. It just gets cold at night as compared to during the day. But those were my 9 whiskeys I think you should buy or look into this springtime. That is a wrap for today's video though. Please do me that favor, like, comment, and subscribe. That helps us out a ton. Seriously appreciate the support. Leave a comment down below what you thought about my list, what you would like to add to my list if you had any qualms with what I added on my list. You know, I make lists based off of my own preferences, so everyone has their own opinions and their own thoughts on whiskey because, again, it's a very subjective world. Also, check out the Facebook, Instagram, and the Patreon. The links for all that stuff are down there below. That's a wrap for today's video. Cheers, y'all. We'll see you later.